Welcome again. This isn't part two. This isn't Chew the Fat with Lee Gunner part two. But this is Chew the Fat with Daps and Soups. And we're going to, this is drop-in session. So what we do is, anyone that wants to talk about whatever, I can drop them the link. They can jump in. No vetting. It's very dangerous.
Jump in.
Talk about whatever. Right.
So we've dropped a link to someone. And
have we?
Yeah, someone.
Oh, so we have dropped, right. So we have dropped the link to someone, actually. We have. Now, and I actually want to reveal this person, right?
The big outing.
So we've got someone who's about to jump in, and people that watch the Arsenal Way, the Arsenal channel, they'll already be aware of this person. But I'm going to expose him right now because, like, he isn't just CT that jumps on the Arsenal Way occasionally. He actually runs Never a Foul with us. So, introducing co-founder of Never a Foul, CT. Where's your backdrop, mate?
Yeah. Where's your lighting, mate?
Where's your backdrop, mate?
Hold on. I've got the old ring light.
All right. Wait, Chris, if you want to sort your lighting out, ring light's great, but you need to turn the light out behind you.
Boom. I just finished filming, guys. My apologies.
Yesterday, Chris, you absolutely smashed it, yeah? You jumped on the Arsenal stream, yeah? And you didn't say a word. And straight away you were like, let me show the biceps.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is? I do my hat up at the back. I've got such a wench head. I need to keep doing it up because it comes loose.
I noticed.
Show off the bias.
What you got your hat done up on what on the last possible.
Yeah, the last thing.
I can't do that. It gives me a headache. But
Uncle Laurie.
Hold tight, Uncle Laurie.
Big Uncle Laurie every time, man.
Yeah, you know what, Chris? One thing I've actually noticed, and yesterday more than ever, right, is we often speak about how the other people on the channel are growing as hosts and whatever. But yesterday, like, obviously, with the technical side, I've witnessed it, right? But yesterday, with the your actual personality, bruv, started. There was two moments in the Arsenal Way yesterday, right, that were like, okay, Chris is starting to get really not just confident on the buttons. The first one was the biceps thing, and the second was when you went on this rant about people putting some respect on Arsenal's name. Do you really believe people should put some respect on Arsenal's name?
Yeah, I do, man. Like we're history in the game, aren't we?
I don't know. Are you?
Are you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, 3 years or something.
In terms of, if we were saying that we were going to sign Messi or Ronaldo or and then Mbappe, then I'd be like, okay, it's probably a long shot. It's probably not realistic. But someone like Jack Grealish, it's a realistic enough target. Especially when we sign.
You know what? I get what you're saying on Jack Grealish because actually he played for Villa, right?
Yeah. They came. Let's get it right. They came 16th. They were one away from relegation. Then they came 11th, and he was injured for half a season. Like the guy is one of the best players, if not the best player in the Prem. But this is Arsenal. We're Arsenal Football Club. We're not a small club. I
think the biggest issue is that if you were Arsenal and you had a project that players could believe in, then people like Grealish, like the problem is that right now I feel like I don't want to be Northside, I don't want to be Gunner and start screaming it's all about a process, right? But
big up PCB.
Big up PCB in the building.
Here he is, the handsome.
He's my number one fan.
Hold on. So
PCB wears glasses.
Take that back down again.
Does PCP wear glasses?
So I want to ask you a question because you put it on Lee, so I'm going to put it on you. Is there a special lady in your life at the moment, Chris?
Basically because me and Lee, we're pretty similar levels in fame and that sort of thing. I don't really want to reveal her name.
Oh my gosh!
I don't want to get stalked in that.
However, the one way I will always tell who it is the word handsome because she has referred to you as handsome from day one.
Oh, the initials. The initials.
Okay.
Okay. I'm clocking it now.
But yeah, no, I do have a girlfriend, and
It sounds funny you even calling a girlfriend because it's basically a wife.
Yeah, I mean, I call her dad the father-in-law, and yeah, I think Jordan, you probably knew me before Paige, and it's probably pretty evident that she's probably, although I want to murder her at times, that she's probably been the
you're perfect for each other.
Yeah, she's the best thing that's ever happened to me. She's calmed me down so much from before I was with her to the person I am now.
Mate. Haven't noticed at all.
Big up PCB. Every time.
You know what? Yeah. That's really nice because obviously
that's a nice
we're very close. Me and the other half are close.
Yeah.
For you to come on here and do that's pretty special.
That's as nice as it's going to get, right?
Yeah, that is definitely as nice as it's going to get. And I'm definitely not going to explain the first time that I met PCB and what happened, but that situation shows how much you've calmed down. The video.
Yeah. No, she's calmed me down a lot, man. She's she's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't know where to go with this right now.
I'm
like, hold on, you've never been like this, but where do we start? Let's talk about Never a Foul. Are you happy you got involved?
Yeah, 100%. You guys have brought me in. It's a well-oiled machine. Everyone's got their what's the word I'm looking for? Their part to play, but their specialities within the business, and it seems to just be growing and growing. And obviously, thanks to the likes of Lee Gunner and stuff, and a few more guests and hosts we've got coming on, it's growing in fruition. But the great thing is the retention. So people are watching, but they're liking what they're seeing. So when big people like me are coming on board, they are subscribing and they're checking back in. And we've got great hosts as well. And you see the Liverpool lads, they're putting in some real work, getting some real good guests. You've got someone like Ty Trafford Tunnel. He's no offense to the others, but he's probably our best host, and he's absolutely been smashing it since day one. We've got Gary on designs. I mean, geez, I big up Gary every time, but absolutely sensational in terms of the graphic design elements. I mean, and we probably don't promote it enough, do we, Jordan? But everything you see, from intros to logos to backdrops, everything is Gary. And he works tirelessly behind the scenes, not just for Chew the Fat, but for every channel on Never a Foul. So,
you know what the thing is, there's times where he's come here and I've said, we need a thumbnail. They're going live in 10 minutes. And I always remember one, and it wasn't, and I said, but I don't want you to do the usual type with the usual backdrop. Showed him a movie cover and said, I want you to make one that looks like this, but instead of that person, Lacazette. And he did it in like 7 minutes, brother. And I'm like, how the hell? The guy's a genius, like.
Phenomenal. He is phenomenal. And it's not just the four of us, but the rest of them as well. Like, you've got Mario, who's really coming into his own now. In terms of hosting, he stepped up the levels, and I saw his little artwork he did with Super for yesterday's show. That was phenomenal as well. That really did bring another element. And as you say, one of the things I do is look at the back end and I look at analytics. And when those 3 images were brought up, you see a spike in the viewership. So people are obviously enticed and intrigued, and they can essentially see something visually and give their own perception or run through it in their own head. So it's a great project to be working on, because it's new to all of us. We have friends within the industry, and some of the biggest players come from the area we're from, and we know them. The likes of Robbie. I mean, me and you from back in the day, Jordan, we used to run events with Robbie at Buddha Blue. We've got Mo, who comes down on Thursday night footballs. We've obviously got Lee Gunner as well. Dino, I was in the gym with him earlier. He's saying he's going to try and get Jeffrey Slot one for a pod. He was from Milton Keynes. So, yeah, there's it's interesting. So it seems to be a lot of networking, a lot of analytics, looking at the back end, and trying to grow. And then when you got great people in the comments as well, like Carl and Jadinho and Uncle Laurie, mate. That the support from these guys means absolutely everything. Like the fact that they're even interested in anything we've got to say.
That was perfect. That was perfect timing with Laurie popping up. Absolutely perfect. There's so many people that I see regularly in the comments, and I think, mad. It's so mad. And it's
all
enjoyable
like,
doing it, and doing it with people you're friends with is even better. Like
they say,
Yeah, I mean-
there's like a famous, I don't know what they call it, idiom or whatever. It's like, find something that you love, never work a day in your life again.
yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
So on that, the other day, I had Never a Foul on, and my 5-year-old daughter, the adverts came up, and she went to skip the ads, and I go, she skipped them, and I go, no. And she goes, she goes, Daddy, we always skip the ads. And I go, yeah, but that's not on Never a Foul. We get paid more money if you let the ads play. And she's like, she just looked at me and goes, what? And I go, we're now, and I started thinking, don't go down this. She hasn't got a clue. And I just said, Kiana, could you imagine if in 5 years' time, Daddy could stop working to just do YouTube? And she was like, you'd be home more. And I'm like, and that is the key. Like, it is the key to it. Like, we're doing something we enjoy, and always remember, it got me through COVID. Like,
I'll tell you what, you and Kelly, mate, you've done an amazing job with Kiana, mate. She's such a sensational young girl. She's becoming a young lady now as well.
No, absolutely, no. Trust me, she's magical, man. Like, it's incredible.
But guys, I've just had a text, and there's someone slightly, I'd say just slightly better looking than me.
well, hold on. Actually, on that
in the
one,
background.
cool. They're not in the background yet.
Can't see him. Can't see him yet.
I think you might have sent them the wrong link, mate. You're getting good on the technicals, but not that good. However,
Before they come in,
when you talk about, let's do this one, then you can do whatever one you're waiting on. Before they come in, Chris.
Yep.
You're talking about slightly better looking, right? Throw up the comment early on from Carl Rossi.
oh,
Look how excited he is.
Hey, double ganger, love that.
Oh, would you take that? Would you take that, Tommy Fury?
Yeah, he's not a bad looking lad, is he?
I'd take that.
It means I get to hang out with Tyson as well.
Yeah, they're starting to. It's funny because their relationship at first, it was almost like Tyson was almost disowning him. Like, I saw one point where Tyson actually said, "No, I think Jake Paul could punch him up because Jake Paul's and I'm thinking, wow. But then obviously at the Billy Joe Saunders thing, they're out there training together and whatever. But,
yeah, do you know what it is? They're half brothers, aren't they? So there's a
is that what they are? Are they halves?
Yeah, half brothers. Different mums. So
Yeah.
there's a bit of drama there.
So that's the difference. With West Indian families, Caribbean families, don't know, it's like for African families and stuff like that. But if someone's my half brother, half sister, whatever, we don't even worry about that like half business. We just say sister.
Well, hold on.
It is what it is.
I mean, I don't want to speak on my other half's family too much, but they're West Indian, and like, don't get me wrong, it's all love when we see Kelly's half sister, some of her half sisters and half brothers at weddings and whatever. But
yeah,
I'll be 100. There's some that she knows very little about.
Oh no, of course.
And
so you
like,
refer to them as, yeah.
So with Fury, it could be that. Like, to be fair,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It could be that. But,
okay, no, but that's great though. That's great that we've touched on the boxing. Let's just touch on it very lightly. So obviously there was an exhibition boxing match.
I'm glad you called it that.
An exhibition boxing event, not match. So exhibition boxing event on Sunday night, 4 a.m. in the UK. It was content creator Logan Paul. I'm sure, is it Logan?
You know what? I'd just call him a cock, to be honest. But if you want to call him a content
creator, Logan Paul, big on YouTube. Versus,
actually, no, his brother's a cock. He's not that bad anymore. His brother's a cock.
Yeah, versus Floyd Jr. And they went 8 rounds. What?
Well, you know what it was? I honestly, until a day before the fight, I thought it was a full-on boxing fight. And then all of a sudden I saw the rules, and it was like, and it confused me because the rules were like, there's no winner.
Yeah.
But knockouts are allowed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, but in any walk of life, if you got knocked out, you've lost. Like, you've lost, innit? You've been knocked out, bruv. You can't stand up and say I won that because I got more punches before you knocked me out. You got knocked out. But then when I woke up, obviously I didn't pay the money. I don't know who would pay the money to see an event that no one can win. But I woke up on Monday, and I didn't really find out much because Logan Paul was celebrating that he went 8 rounds with Mayweather, and it's just baffling, bruv, to be honest with you.
Have you seen the fight since?
No.
Me neither.
Because
why are you, Chris? You seen the fight, CT?
No, it's disrespectful to boxing. It was a joke.
Yeah, this is a thing. Like Joshua, I was watching one pod the other day. It was a pod where they actually had to taste wings. It was truth or something, and you either have to answer the truth or you have to eat some mad hot wings, right? And it was Israel Adelaide and Joshua, and they asked Joshua how he feels about all this celebrity boxing stuff, and he was like, well, I'm split, because one half of it is like, it's great that they're bringing a new crowd to the boxing world.
Clout.
However, there's enough good boxers that are not getting enough respect for these guys that can't really box to come up and get fights against Mayweather, who most people, like, let's be 100. Prince, like, what's his name? The guy that I wanted Kell Brook to fight. Khan has been begging the fight with Mayweather his whole damn life, right? And then Logan Paul just comes through and goes, "No, I'm going to fight him instead." It's
a money thing.
Yeah. I mean, we can't knock anyone making money. That's the, like, money makes the world go round.
Even in the press conference before and after, Mayweather was calling it a legal bank robbery.
He was calling it that himself.
Yes. Illegal bank robbery.
Yeah, but it's, at the end of the day, like you guys say, if people weren't tuning in, they wouldn't do these sorts of things. So blame it on the general public who are.
You know what? And that's true. We all talk about in football. Like, I've seen one female Man United fan today on Twitter. She's not huge, but she's got probably about 10, 15,000 followers. And she's been getting abused because she was at the Glaze You Out protest, right? And then today, and with clubs like Man United, you have to go on a waiting list to get your season ticket. She's got the opportunity, so she's grabbed it, and she's put it on Twitter. At last, I've got my season ticket, and straight away, everyone's like, see, why are you at the Glaze You Out thing? Because clearly you don't want him out if you're getting a season ticket. And she said, look, I've waited my whole life for this. I'm going to watch my team. I will not buy food. I won't buy merchandise. But I'm not going to turn down watching my lifelong team because I still want the owners out. And it's true. And the same with this thing. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. Who's paying money to see Mayweather fight Logan Paul?
I don't even know how much it was.
That's insane to me.
That's why it's called the money team. That's what he does. He makes money, doesn't he? Okay, everyone wants to.
Yeah, exactly. Let's not.
I think the spectacle there was the fact that obviously this Logan Paul is so big on social media, so there's a pull in terms of money, and then the other one is that Logan Paul's a heavyweight.
Yeah, the size difference was mad, wasn't it?
And everyone's thinking, do you know what? A heavyweight, if he lands one bomb, does he knock Mayweather out? He's never lost. So I guess that was the interest. But
did he land any?
He tried. He probably landed about like 4% of the punches.
It's true that you did imagine from one like heavyweight, even if it hits the guy in the ribs or something, you think a heavyweight punch on a middleweight is gonna.
Even 50-year-old Mayweather, mate, he's even still then looks so sharp. Best defense ever, mate.
What I like is people saying, "Oh, this fight has ruined boxing."
No, it hasn't.
Don't get it twisted. Like, boxing ain't corrupt anyway.
Yeah,
there's that. But the other thing is, like,
shall we
look? Once we finish this, we'll bring Holly in. We'll bring our guest in. But that's true because everyone can tell the difference between a Canelo v Billy Joe Saunders fight and a Mayweather v Logan Paul fight. It's almost like it's a new realm now. It's not. Although it is disrespectful on boxing, but it's different to boxing. And anyone that can't tell the difference, are probably younger than me, to be fair. But
I mean, this comment here is quite interesting, and
It's good, isn't it?
what I would say is, in this day and age, and you saw it previously in the music game, where a lot of musicians would get ripped off when they would sign a deal. But as we've evolved and we've grown, we've got smarter. And you look at the likes of Skepta, who stay independent, and that's trickled through a lot. And people are really getting paid off their music now. In the fighting game, it's all about building that presence and having that social media, building your YouTube accounts. I mean, Dana White said it recently about a fighter complaining about how much he was getting paid in the MMA. And he said, you never set up a YouTube channel in 10 years. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, you've got to go into things with a business brain. And it looks like the likes of Mayweather, Logan Paul, it's business, isn't it?
It's bang on. It's the same we always say about music. When you look at artists that are willing to invest in themselves and do a bit of work in themselves,
yeah,
a label is gonna buy into that over someone that just sits there going, I'm the ish, and what's he saying?
Uncle Laurie say he's spitting conspiracy. He's saying, yeah, Mayweather probably needs the money for the hit out. Yeah, maybe NBA. We got only NBA young boys. Yeah.
But all right, come on, gentlemen. Let's not leave the lady waiting.
So which one of us is going to do the introduction?
It's got to be Gary.
No. I've got control of the buttons. So.
He always uses this one. But then what we'll do is I start the intro. I'll go 1 second because I really want to read out this comment.
No. Go ahead.
So, right. So, shall I do it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. So I will do it. So, ladies and gentlemen. No, I'm not going to do it like that. But
yeah.
So, Never a Foul, PWP Media, people who podcast. We're soon going to change. We needed a lead lady for the channel. Someone that can interact with not only the ladies but the gentlemen. You know, can get down with the boxing, the football talk, but can also talk about nails, talk about hair.
Drum roll.
Bit about her, take some banter. She's been on the show twice before. It's the one and only Holly.
Hey, how is everyone?
Photogenic.
Forget about me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. Can hear you, Holly.
I'm liking the setup, Holly.
Do you like the new setup?
Yeah. I can see you've had your hair done, nails done.
Oh, can you see it? Oh no, it's time to talk about nails. I lost one today, so I'm going to sit like this.
Looking very photogenic, as Mario would say.
Thank you. I don't feel it. I'm very pale today. I've not had a spray tan this week. So I'm looking a bit like Morticia Adams.
Sun's out, girl. You don't need one.
Say that again.
The sun's out. You don't need one.
Holly, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna instruct you how to make your camera like super.
Cutting out, boys.
Holly, you're holding that pose perfectly. Can I just say,
Brilliant.
It is sensational.
Being Uncle Laurie saying,
I think Holly's gone. Chris, okay. You scared her away. Never happened on our show before.
Never, not once, not once. What I'm going to do, I'm going to holler at Holly, and I'll make sure that her setup is absolutely A1.
Absolutely, yeah. Bring her back on when the setup's all correct. And until then, Chris, I want to ask. So when Lee was on, we were talking about Arsenal, and onto the fact we always try and avoid the football conversation, right? But it always somehow ends up on the football conversation. So obviously with Lee and with Northside, they've shown us this new style of Arsenal fans that are a bit less deluded. Do you get it?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got their opinion at the end of the day, and as long as you could back that up, then cool. There has to be substance to what you're talking about. But I like to be more positive, I find. I think Lee considers himself a realist, and others would look at him as maybe a little bit negative, but he's got a huge following, and I like.
You know what? I think that's very true. I think actually, especially in the YouTube world, there is room for positive, uber positive, aka Chelsea fans generally, right? And then there's room for negative, but it's uber negative.
I just think, well, I said this on a previous pod, right? I think playing for Arsenal, probably more so than any other club, Man United come a close second, but I think playing for Arsenal in this country
That's mad, you know.
is the toughest club in the country.
No, I agree, actually. Arsenal's
And the reason I say it, right, is because you're going to one of the biggest clubs in the country. You have one bad game, and essentially you'll be all over TalkSport, because as much as they try and run Robbie, they clickbait Arsenal far more than any other team. So you're all over TalkSport. You're all over AFTV. Some of the people you actually play with watch AFTV and have a relationship with some of the hosts and guests. Then you're sat in a locker room with them. So essentially, you're sat there feeling away and potentially thinking these guys are laughing at you behind your back. So if you mess up in a game, you all of a sudden then get hit by the pundits, the analysts. You might become a meme, something that Roy Keane says about you. And then finally, the media. I mean, it's well known at the moment, the most searched thing on Google in terms of football is Arsenal transfer news. The fan base is insane. And in terms of clickbait, Arsenal are used in so many different terms in order to sell newspapers or the actual pods online, to up the price of certain players, to pique interest. It goes on and on and on. And you look at the likes of AFTV, and I don't know what your opinion on it is. For me, it's kind of a 50-50. I find they are extremely negative at times, but then they do back a lot of what they sell.
But you know what? I don't think they're negative, you know. I actually think like they're real fans. Like,
all right, so let me put it this way, right? Little Kiana, yeah? Let's say she goes to ballet, right? And she goes to do a plie, and then...
And I already know it. Listen.
And the next thing you know, you're stood on the sidelines.
No, never.
And you've got
never.
5 of you there, and then she messes one up, and you go, she's awful, she's rubbish.
No. Listen,
and start losing the plot.
To be very clear, you don't even need to finish it. Somebody, no names, hold tight, mum, right? Said they were disappointed with her over the way she wrote something. I switched. Like disappointed. Like the minute she showed me, I was impressed. Like, well done. And I was like, don't ever say, oh, I think we can do better. That's fine. Disappointed. Like, no. So I get it. With AFTV, with them, what I actually see with them is they're very passionate and they have meltdowns. And that's what everyone loves seeing, them having complete meltdowns. Once they've had a meltdown, they're then, maybe a bit negative. But when you've just had a meltdown, I mean, I've had meltdowns about Man City. Man City have won the league. I've had meltdowns this season. I had a meltdown after the Champions League. But
the way I look at it is, if you look at Wenger, right, the kind of the joke, the irony, the hypocrisy is that people wanted Wenger out so we could challenge to win the title in the Champions League. We then fast forward and all of a sudden people are getting upset that we can't even get top 4, and that's now the aim. When Wenger was coming to the tail end of his career, there were banners flying over the stadium. There were banners in the stadium. There were, protests. There were people booing at games. And you imagine the disharmony that would have caused during that season. You would think to yourself, if there was positive reinforcement and he wasn't forced out, he would have probably got top 4 both of those years.
You know what, Chris? So I'm going to take it back to when Wenger was still in a job, right? And people were screaming for Wenger out. And I was saying something, and then you started saying it as well, right? And I remember it clear as day. We were saying Wenger, every season when he gets top 4, right, he's getting offered new contracts, right? Let's move away from football and go into a normal world, right? You only get contract extensions if you're hitting your targets, right? If you're not hitting your targets, you don't get no contract extensions, yeah? So what Wenger was doing was performing to the level the board was expecting. Therefore, you get rid of Arsene Wenger, nothing changes because the expectations aren't going to get better. Therefore, nothing changes. Like, you had a good manager, but a board with shit expectations. Now you've got a board with shit expectations and a not so good manager.
All I'm saying, right, is these players that play for Arsenal, they're obviously a certain level. they're obviously a Prem standard level, not to the heights that we want to be, not to the level of Man City, but they're a decent level, right? Imagine going to perform and do your job and knowing that if you mess up, if at any point that you are going to be ridiculed on TalkSport by analysts, by pundits, by Roy Keane, by AFTV, every other podcast out there, newspapers, media outlets, if you do imagine the pressure that's going to put you under when you're trying to perform your task or your role. And then if it does go wrong, and then the next thing you know, it's a snowball effect and you're not even making the team anymore. We saw the difference between Luke Shaw when he played under Jose Mourinho.
Absolutely.
And then when he played under Ollie. So, it's I don't begrudge anyone earning their money, but whether or not it benefits Arsenal Football Club is debatable. At the same time, I respect what Robbie's done. I like Robbie. So it's a mixed bag.
And the other thing I just want to bring up that made me laugh a little bit is when you spoke about transfers and you did. Look, I lost a bet this year to Hold Tight Claudio. I lost a bet because in the cave we had Chris, Mario, me, Ty, Claudio, and Mario and Chris started gassing about Arsenal finishing above Chelsea, right? Now, I got so carried away with the hype that I was like, you know what? I'll take that 50 as well, Claudio, right? And very quickly, luckily, Chris bet me £50 that Arsenal would finish above Man City. So therefore, my bet was paid off by Chris. So, but then on the Arsenal Way the other day, a couple of signings were mentioned, and you said, I'm not even going to lie. If we make those signings, I might be screaming we might challenge next season.
Nah, no challenge. Top 4. No challenge.
Holly, you back?
I'm back in the room.
Here she is. Yeah,
all right, I'm sorry, guys. Technical issues all day for me.
Same, trust me.
We've had the same technical issues. It's been crazy. What we call them gremlins? Why do we call that technical issues gremlins?
I don't know.
It was radio. One time we said it, but I think it's from, and we're all of the kind of same era. Anyone that's seen Gremlins, when they go to the cinema,
okay,
I think to see Snow White or something, right? And all of a sudden the projector starts going all weird because the Gremlins have climbed in the room with it. I can only presume it's that.
Must be.
Hi, Holly.
Hi, Jordan. Are you on the Magnum?
I am on the Magnums, but I'm actually also drinking Captain Morgan's. Hey, nephews.
You're going in. I'm on the water. I'm detoxing.
What?
And original Calypso lemon.
I'm detoxing. I got too drunk Saturday and embarrassed myself as normal.
So I do it most nights. It's fine.
You embarrassed yourself. How? What happened?
Oh yeah. Oh, it's probably too X-rated for on it, but yeah, I was sick a few times as well. Probably the third time in my life I've been sick due to alcohol, so it's put me off.
Lies.
Third.
And I'm never normally sick.
Lies.
What's the topic then, guys? What are we going to discuss?
All right, so welcome to Chew the Fat with myself, Dap, Soups, the First Lady of PWP Media, Holly, and Tommy Fury in the corner.
So, Tommy Fury, are you looking forward to Love Island coming up soon?
I've never watched it.
Lies.
Why? Why not?
I promise you, I've never watched it.
Why not? Why not? What's your problem? What's your beef with Love Island?
Sorry, 1 second.
I don't watch a great deal of TV, to be honest with you. I'm more of a Netflix person.
Yeah, I don't watch that much TV either. But I did start watching Time. Who's watched that with Stephen Graham? Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I've heard that's, and it's got who else? Sean Bean as well, right?
Sean Bean, yeah. I've watched the first episode, so I need to watch the other 2, which I'm not going to do tonight. But it was so good.
Do you know what a crazy spoiler is though? If you watch anything else with Sean Bean, he dies in everything he's in.
Oh no, is he going to die?
I don't know.
I like him in this as well. He's really cute and sweet.
That's what he does. He gets you involved. Like he obviously endears you to him. You start appreciating his character and like, leveling with him. And then next thing he's dead. But hopefully I haven't given you a spoiler.
Well, I'm hoping he don't die in this.
Yeah, hopefully not. But literally everything he's in, he dies.
Where's children gone? Gone to be sick.
Hopefully he's not. Hopefully he's gone to use the little boy's room.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so that's all good. So Holly, welcome along. Thank you for coming on.
you.
True the Fact. You've been on True the Fact twice now. We've done a part 1 and a part 2, and they were both very, very, very informative. Really good, really highly rated. Japs keeps saying you're the first lady of PWP. Do you want to let the viewers know what that means?
What does that mean, Soups?
I was hoping you knew. I was hoping you knew.
I can tell you.
Okay. That's
back.
He's back.
Sorry.
Magic trick. He's back.
I can tell you. It means that PWP Media is currently a cockfest. No. So what it actually means is that every good king needs a queen. Every good prince needs a princess. Every amazing group of bees need the queen bee.
Can I just interject? For me personally, I always look at the analytics on the back end, and
and this is why he is involved. This is it.
prior to Holly's first appearance, our viewers were 99% male, and when Holly performed on one show, it then became 70-30. So the increase in female viewers increased dramatically. So we need more of Holly, is what we're saying, guys.
Yeah, and when I did the intro, I think it's very clear that this isn't a case of let's get a female and throw on the channel. We need a female.
Wait. Okay.
This is what he does. Straight in. All right.
I know. I've come straight in. I know I've interrupted your flow, Daps. I'm so sorry.
You're not. You do it all the time.
I know. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. But not sorry. But Holly, I want to ask you. The term that Daps uses, female, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that cool, or would you prefer woman or whatever?
This guy's trying to make problems, you know.
No,
Jesus.
I ain't trying to make problems. I'm just trying to.
You know what? I could have said chick. I said female. But you complete a form. It says male or female, right?
Yeah.
I'm good with female, woman.
Holly, though, I'm excited. Holly.
You stop. So let me continue.
Yeah, sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's not just about getting a female, a lady, a woman. It's about finding. It's about finding a personality that can actually interact with both genres and can talk about this, but also banter and talk about that, but also banter. It's someone that can cross between the two. And on both the shows, like I can tell you now, when we've left this room after doing shows with Holly, we've had a good night. It's been banter, like, and that's the key with you, that you can interact with both. So with the first lady, you are the first host on PWP Media, and we all have this belief that you're gonna take us to a new heights. And hit those analytics.
I'm gonna try.
I think from my perspective on Holly, we're always talent spotting, and I think from my perspective, when you look at Holly, number one, she's photogenic. Number two, she's confident. Number three, there's an entrepreneurial presence within her. Number four, she's done the real estate. There's obviously intelligence there as well. From the photogenic side of things, there's the whole female thing. She could do the hair, the beauty, the makeup. For me, she's the whole package, man. I've got a lot of what's the word?
I disagree.
I've got a lot of expectations for Holly. I see good things. I think she gets on well with both males and females. She obviously is a huge Chelsea fan. She's probably been to more Championship finals than any of us.
Awful.
Thank you. That's
nice.
Yeah. What did you want to add? Can you disagree?
I disagree. Frommie said she supports Chelsea. I'm like, that's what I disagree about. We've got enough Chelsea in our head, Chris. We don't need another one.
Oh God, the Champions League. I haven't even spoken.
I was about to say, did you want to have a little chat about that, Jordan? I swear you owe me some money.
Yeah.
You owe me a bit of paper.
She's making that up. That was nonsense.
I think we need to look back, because I'm sure we had a little bet.
You were drunk. I was sober.
I was definitely drunk. I'm gonna have to watch it back, but I think you owe me some money, mate.
Well, Holly, I'm excited about what's to come. Can you tell the guys what they're going to expect from your show?
Well, I know that there's going to be a lot of realism, so we're going to have, I've got people coming on. I've got a friend of mine, a guy that's going to come and talk about mental health in men,
Nice.
which I think is a really big thing. So he's going to come on next week, which I'm excited about. We have got some influencers coming on. We've got some people that own businesses in Milton Keynes and around the area that are going to come on and promote some of their businesses and talk about setting up businesses and how to go about it, etc., which is good. Obviously, I'm going to do some girly stuff that might bore you guys, but we'll have some girly makeup and hair stuff.
That might not bore Chris.
Yeah, maybe not.
It's an opportunity
And then,
to learn, right?
yeah, my eldest is going to come on at some point as well, so I'm excited about that.
Okay.
I love it.
And then
I love
oh, sorry, Jess. Sorry to disappoint
The
you.
problem is you're going to try to do all of this with all of your friends and family trying to throw you off track in the comments.
Oh, they will do, yeah. There won't be many. There won't be many on here actually tonight because they think obviously.
He
it's
will
not
though.
happening till next
Big
week,
up
so.
Jack.
Yeah,
He's always
is
about.
Jack your brother?
Big up Jack.
Yeah, Ollie,
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about this. I saw Jack on TV with, I think it was Matt Legg, and it was like a. Do you want to touch on that, or is that something you want to?
Matt's
Yeah,
leg.
don't mind. I'm sure he don't mind.
Yeah. So I think before was it like a weight loss thing they were doing?
Yeah, so he basically had a gastric ban, but you can't have it in the UK under 18. So he flew to America to have it when he was 16.
Oh wow.
So yeah, he lost quite a bit. So yeah, he went out to America and they filmed him and they kind of paid for that and then they did like a filming I think about a year later just to touch on his weight loss. Keep an eye on them glasses and chat. Yes, please, Cole. If they're naughty, just pick them up.
What's the crack with that, Holly? Because obviously I know your family. I know James. He's I don't know. He might put a bit of timber on now, but he's always been a fairly slender lad. You've been a slender girl.
Yeah, he's about 6'4" with a bit of a tummy now.
Yeah.
I don't really know, to be fair. I don't know what really happened with Jack, but yeah, no matter even when he dieted, he just still put on weight. So
was he just constantly hungry? Because there's a lot of people out there that obviously are overweight and whatnot, and they do want to lose it, but there are obviously issues with it. Did you notice anything? Is there anything that you got diagnosed with by the doctors or anything?
no, they never diagnosed like a thyroid problem or anything like that. And he always used to eat the same amount as us, so I'm not 100% sure what happened. But yeah, he had that. He's still got it now, and yeah, he's normal weight, probably underweight now. He's quite small now.
Oh,
So-
good lad.
Do you know what? That's actually a really good conversation with females, actually,
Absolutely.
about weight fluctuation. And
Yeah, do you know what? I lose it really, really easy, but I put it on just as quick. And probably
How was your weight during pregnancy and that, Holly? Did you lose it quickly after? Did it take a while?
So with my first, I was 19. I was quite young, and I was probably about a size 6. I literally came out of the hospital in my jeans. I was fine. But then obviously I had another one. Yes, where 10 years later I had another one. That's when the weight started going on. It's harder to lose once you get to 30. I mean, I'm not past that.
Right.
I'm not past 30, but
Chris, take note.
So we can look forward to keeping up with the glasses at some point.
Oh, that's a great one.
they'll all
Yeah,
be on
that's
here
a
at
great
some point.
shout.
Next week they'll be on there.
But that would be, you know what? That would be hilarious, keeping up with the glasses. Because even when your mum jumped in once, that was pretty funny.
So,
Because
this is
What
like-
was it? Holly, if I remember correctly, and this could have been a rumor, but I'm 99% sure it's true, but didn't your mum and dad win the lottery or win
yeah,
like
they did.
big money?
I was 25, so it was 12 years ago. And it was the fundable. So back then, I think it was £250,000, £250,000. And my dad did it with his brother. So it wasn't like mega amounts as in like, going to change your whole life. But 125 grand, they split each. I remember I was walking into, might have been Yates's. I was walking in and my mum called me like, can you come to ours? We need to tell you something. And I was like, I'm just going out. And they were like, just come over. I was like, tell me why. Like getting panicky, thinking like, what's wrong? And she was like, we won the lottery. And I went, I hung the phone up. I was like, she's funny, thinking she's lying.
Yeah.
My phone's rang again. And I'm like, hello, Mum. She was like, I'm being serious. I was like, you're joking. She was like, no. And because my dad used to perm numbers, so he'd have his 6 numbers and then he would take 3 of them and put them on the next line, but the other 3 and put them on the third line, and he'd mix them up. So when he won it, $250,000, he also won an extra like 5-6 grand on top from where he'd permed his numbers. So he was quite clever. Like, but yeah, that was 12 years ago. But yeah, it wasn't like, oh my God, life changing. It was 125 grand. So, you know, it doesn't pay your mortgage. But yeah, they had a nice drink and done a few. I think they went on a cruise, got remarried and done up the house a bit and stuff. Gave us a little drink.
It's comfort.
Not going to tell you what I spent my money on.
Please do.
Yeah, well, I'm now thinking. Hold on, what did you think?
What do you spend your money on?
No, I bought new boobs with mine.
Okay.
I mean, I would have done the same, to be fair.
Yeah, why not? Fuck it.
Yeah.
So I've got a question for you guys, and I'm gonna ask the question and then answer mine, give mine, and then you guys give me yours. What is the most jaw-dropping thing or story that you've heard? And mine would have to be, I don't want to mention their names. They're from Milton Keynes. Well, we can call him Mbongo. I don't know if Jordan will remember who that is, but he was working in a restaurant. He was working in a restaurant in the hub. I saw him one week, was chatting to him. His missus was there as well. All normal, both working. And then a week later, I find out, and I couldn't believe this, that they were out clubbing and neither of them knew. She collapses in the toilet. Ambulance come, pick her up, start taking her to the hospital. By the time they arrive at the hospital, she gave birth. And they had no clue that she was pregnant. So they were ringing the mum and dad to say, you need to get to the hospital. They kept hanging up.
They come in as a baby.
To the hospital, and they're like, what the hell, we're granddad and grandma. And apparently what it was is the baby was hid in the back as opposed to the stomach, so she wouldn't show. But
never play hide and seek with that child.
Yeah. But you guys, what crazy stories have you got for
I was trying to think of one while you were talking, and then you dropped that, and I'm like, I ain't got a clue.
My mind went, go on, Holly.
I know, mine's gone blank as well. Hang on, let me think of something. All mine are quite bad, to be honest with you. They're too X-rated for this.
While you guys keep thinking then, like, obviously we know this guy, and I don't want to mention any names or anything, but I saw him a week later, right? I'd heard the story, but didn't realize it was about him. So I'm up in a clothing store, and I go, how you doing, bro? Blah, blah, blah. I go, Jesus, that girl that works at your place with you and that. I heard she was out at thingy and she didn't know she was pregnant. She gave birth. He turns around to me and goes, yeah, that was my kid. That was my missus.
Wow.
Imagine that.
Crazy.
I don't know how women can't know. Literally, I'm sick for 9 months. Literally.
Yeah, it was.
That's mad, you know. How can you hide a baby? No. Well, ask.
I mean, I've heard that.
The guy from Austria. Where was he from?
Where was he from, Chris?
No, not Chris. The guy that put the guy under the stairs.
Oh my God.
I was going to say, how do you hide a baby? Then I thought about that guy that put.
But you think, right? They obviously.
But
you obviously think they give birth, but they've got nothing prepared. There's no crib. There's no nothing.
No gender reveal. No gender reveal.
I mean, one day you wake up, you haven't got a kid. The next day you got a kid. Wow.
You know what? They've missed all the fun. No gender reveal, no telling the family, and then you've got something you have to pay for.
No scans, no folic acid.
All right, come on. One of you guys must have a story.
I'm going to be 100. I have, without thinking about it, and I can't think of one. However, this morning,
I need to think something.
I was walking my daughter to school, and I'm nearly at the school. Then all of a sudden, I look in like to the right-hand side of the path, and there's like about 6 guys all in uniform, but it's not police, it's not community police, like near the bush. And they're like kind of, and then I just hear, get the back off me! And I'm like, what? And everyone is looking, thinking, what the hell's going on? My daughter's like, there's an animal in the bush. Anyway, we walked off to school, dropped my daughter off. Then someone said to me, oh no, someone had shoplifted in Lidl and then been chased to the bush, jumped in the bush, and everyone was in Lidl uniform. So that's what it was, right? I thought nothing about it. And then this evening, my daughter gets dropped off by my mum. Me and my wife are there, and she's like, Daddy, have you told Mummy about the animal in the bush that wouldn't come out? I'm like,
that's sad, like you've got, it's sad on a couple accounts. You've got someone that's trying to steal food. Like, it's sad that they have to steal food, number one. And number two, like, these little employees, are you really getting paid enough to all chase someone?
That's what it was mad. I'm telling you, it wasn't right outside Lidl. they'd run, bruv. Like, if you wanted to shoplift, half of Lidl was chasing her. So go and clean out the store. But
Yeah, it's not bad.
the other thing is, why did she jump in the bush? Like, you're not going to get away from them.
You can't hide from there. Yeah.
But I mean, that was awful compared to your baby hiding in the back. But I can't even remotely think of anything close to not knowing you're pregnant for 9 months.
I'll tell you something, actually, before one of you guys jump in with another story. I watched something that was quite tear-jerking, quite heartwarming the other day. If you type it in on YouTube, it was in Scotland. There were 2 Pakistani men that had lived in a street for 17 years. And the immigration department had decided that actually you're not allowed to stay in this country and we're going to deport you. And it's so heartwarming, so heartfelt. There were two riot vans turned up. It slung them into the back, and then these guys had let all their neighbors know, there's potential we're going to be deported. Next thing you know, there were 10,000 neighbors outside, stood there for 10 hours and did not let the riot vans move. And they were black, they were white, they were Asian, and they kept saying, shame on the police. These are our neighbors. They're, we love these guys and stuff. It was a beautiful thing to see humanity step up, and it was very heartwarming.
So I don't want to get too deep, but that's perfect, because I've seen 1 or 2 things recently where people were saying things like, right, so there's race wars going on in England that are maybe from races that aren't originally related to England, okay? I'll say it, the whole Palestine-Israel thing, and then there's situations happening in England to do with that, and people saying, this isn't England anymore. And it just, when I hear that, it's firstly, it's almost like, well, hold on, because that could, in a way, become directed at my family, right? However much you might not think it could. But more so, if we take it deeper and deeper and deeper, this is a world. Like, let's forget all these different countries. The fact that people going, well, you shouldn't be in this island here and this island there, is, when you actually think about it, it's insane, bruv. So why should someone, they're homeless. What it's mad. It's so, but that's the world.
Yes, it's a bit too deep, this one.
It is. And you know what? The mad thing is, I'm not getting, obviously that story is, it's very deep. It's the way the world is. It's crazy. I was going to come with a story that was not
right. So we're going to change the mood, because this mood's kind of Holly's never been on a show where we get a bit deep. So.
Holly, come on, man.
I do
don't know why you're sitting there trying to think of one story. You must have a million stories.
She's embarrassed to say them in front of you.
Stories. I'm sitting here trying to think of one, and I can't even think of one. And I've got loads. Yeah. I'm normally the storyteller. My friends would call me the storyteller.
Have you got any from Denby days? Back.
Oh my God, let me think of Denby days.
Hold on.
Jesus Christ.
Tell us your one.
No, I can't. It's rubbish.
You tell us 6 and I'll remember a Denby one.
Yeah,
okay. My story is very rubbish. Like, seriously, I'm warning you all, it's rubbish, yeah? I went to a concert, I think Wireless, actually. I went to Wireless. And I was with my friend, we were drinking, like so drunk, like crazy drunk. And I walked past the entrance, at Wireless, they've got like a VIP area and stuff like that. I walked past that to head to the toilets or to head to a bar or something like that. As I head past the VIP entrance area, someone goes, "Oh, pee!" I could just, you hear it in the background, like hear the noise, whatever. I'm not even acknowledging it because, nothing to do with me. Walking past it, pee! Yo, pee! And then I turn around, obviously they're making lots of noise. Rita Ora making lots of noise.
Rita Ora's making lots of noise.
Yes, she's like, pee! Turn around, and she's like, come. Obviously, where I'm looking, like, who's making the noise, whatever.
So what did you do?
Just carry on walking at first. It's like, P, where you going? So then, literally, there's about 3 of us that turn around. I'm like,
you're waiting for one of them, and then when you work out it's not one of them, you're like, I'm gone.
Who's she talking to? It's like, come. And then next thing, a guy taps my shoulder And she's like, oh yeah, I think she's talking to you. I think she's talking to you. Come. I'm like, what? I'm with my friend. I'm like, what should we do? What should we do? And then she's like, yeah, come. So next thing, I get dragged into the VIP section.
I remember you telling me about it.
Get dragged to the VIP section. I walk in. I'm like, what the hell's going on? What the hell is going on here? Carry on walking. Rita. Oh yeah, thank you. She comes over. She's like, oh hey, how you doing? You all right? Yeah, nice to see you. I didn't think you were going to be here. What do I do?
So hold on. Who did you think you were?
At this point, who knows? At this point, who knows?
Stick with it, people, because we're going to find out about another female being pregnant, I think, in a minute. So carry on.
Maybe, yeah, we will. I'm like, yeah, I don't know who she thinks that. I'm like, oh hey. So then I turn into acting mode. I'm like, oh yeah, nice to see you, you know, whatever. Trying to gather info. I'm like, you know,
who do I have to be?
Who do I have to turn into? Who do I have to turn into to whatever? And she's like, oh yeah, how's the album going? I'm like, and then obviously I don't know how to answer, and I'm like, whatever. Like,
I would have said we're just waiting for a Rita Ora feature.
I should have said that. But I'm just like, I don't know. And she's like, oh, hold on. She's like, that's when she. That's when
she clocked it.
That's when she clocked. She's like, hold on. She's like, oh my god. Oh, has anybody ever told you look like someone before? And I'm like, no. And I don't look like anyone. I think I just look like me. I don't think I look like anybody else. And
unlike Tommy Fury over there.
Yeah, Tommy Fury's there. He looks like him. I'm like, who did you think I was? Like, so then I was honest. I was like, who do you think I was? Because I thought you were Patrick Tiny Temper. And I started absolutely creasing.
Like, Rita Ora, go and get your eyes tested,
No,
mate. Go and get some contacts.
Nah, but what happened after that, Gary? Did she boot you out? Did you carry on drinking with her?
She boot me out. Because obviously, by then, I'm already in the VIP area.
You're in VIP.
I'm already talking to Rita Ora.
You've been certified that Rita Ora knows who you are. Yeah.
I'm already there. I'm just standing there, but by myself, and I'm just like,
not looking like Tiny Temper
not
at all.
Tiny Temper.
Did she actually call you Patrick Tiny Temper?
Yeah.
Well, that tells us Rita Ora and Tiny Temper are on a first name basis.
Yeah, maybe they know each other.
Well, this is going to tell us a lot about. It's going to tell us a lot about your game, Gary, mate.
No. Seriously. After that, obviously, she's clocked now. I'm not obviously I'm not Tiny Temper. So then we chat. I think we have. I can't remember. I think we take a picture. I take a picture.
You did take a picture. I've seen it
for me, and then she takes a picture on her phone. And it's like, oh, I'm going to send this, and it's going to be so funny. And then we split, and then I'm there in the VIP area by myself at Wireless.
So did you stay in VIP, or did you go back out and find Mandem?
I absolutely stayed in VIP by myself, going to bars.
Was it free drinks?
Free drinks.
Oh.
Absolutely free drinks, the whole thing. And I was trying to talk to doormen and bouncers. And I was like, I don't know what's happened. I've lost my. You
know what would have happened if Chris was there?
What would have happened?
Chris would have left VIP with a festival organised. And a phone book full of contacts. Right.
Yeah, no.
I'm Tommy Fury, and I want you at my festival.
I was drunk. There was nothing.
All right, Holly, what's this one here, girl? What's this about you saving someone's life?
So this is the best thing, actually.
Oh shit! She saved someone's life.
You know what, Chris? Now I see what you did with that question, because when you know there's a few of Holly's family or friends in there, just ask that, because we've had bananas mentioned. We've had,
we're not going down that route tonight, guys.
Not tonight.
No, Daddy Chris is here. No going down that route.
I swear, I did not blame
you. Talk us through it, Ollie. How did you save someone's life? What happened? What's the situation?
A little bit sad, really, because you know what? I was at the train station one day. I'd stopped there for some reason. I had my two kids in the back of the car. And as I pulled around where all the taxis wait, I see a little old couple, and it was freezing. It was I think it was like -2 at the time. And I could see them obviously waiting for a lift, and I can't remember why I was waiting for someone, but I stood there and I was watching this little old couple, and they were freezing, and taxis kept driving past. So I said to him, like, "Are you okay?" And she was like, oh yeah, we've been waiting for our taxi for 40 minutes. And the guy had like a frame, and a load of the taxi guys were like, oh no, we can't fit it in the car, etc. And I was like, okay, where are you going? And they said, oh, we're going to Bradwell Village. And I said, okay, jump in, I'll give you a lift. I'm not going to have you standing there. If that was my nan and granddad, do you know what I mean? I'd be fuming.
Cool.
So the lady gets into the car, and as I come back to the guy, he looked in a bad way. So I said, are you okay? He couldn't talk, and he just collapsed.
Sure.
And then obviously I'm panicking. Everybody's just stood there. Nobody's doing anything. And it was packed. So I just thought, right, okay. So I laid him down, put him in the recovery position, like checked his pulse, and I'm thinking he's not even breathing.
Sure.
And a young boy turns up on a motorbike, and he takes his helmet off, and he was like, you okay? And I said, not really, like I need to, like, do you know what I mean? So I started undoing his shirt, and we tried to like obviously get his heart pumping again. At this point, the people from the train station have come out and got like the defibrillator and stuff like that, and tried to get him breathing, which was fine. He was breathing. We did that. That was brilliant. But yeah, unfortunately, later he passed away the next day, which was really sad. But yeah, I didn't quite save his life, unfortunately. That's why when I saw that, I was a bit
you know what? That's actually very relevant. I don't know. So my mum's just got back from spending time up north with my sisters. One of my sisters works for Bupa, and it doesn't get spoke about enough. We often criticise the government and the way they spend money and whatever. But you know that something the government has been doing is putting Holly, you just said the word perfectly. If I try and say it, it's going to come out totally wrong. But the machine you use for
defibrillator.
I sometimes say it wrong as well, so yeah. I won't repeat it just in case.
So apparently there's loads of them being put all over the country, like side of road and stuff like that. Because if you call an ambulance, the ambulance probably will not get there in time, right? But they're local to a lot of places, and apparently they talk to you. They tell you exactly what to do. And if you use one of those correctly, you will bring someone. Like, there's a good chance, obviously not in every case, you will bring someone back to life. And
I think the difference between someone who's gone into cardiac arrest and they get in a defibrillator within, I think, 3 minutes, and 6 minutes,
if an ambulance comes,
is 90%.
Yeah,
90%.
Is it true that when you're performing CPR and you've got to start the compressions, that you actually have to break the rib cage in order to be able to?
Yeah, I've heard that.
You do.
Yeah.
But chest compressions, obviously, now we're in like an era of COVID and
it
stuff like that.
It doesn't always happen, I don't think, but it can do.
Yeah, it doesn't always happen, but now we're in the era of COVID. Chest compressions should start. They should be like a last resort. You need to give someone, I think they're called life-saving breaths.
Yeah. It's breath first.
Give them like 2 life-saving breaths. Yeah. Normally, like a first aid kit and stuff like that, you have protectors and stuff.
Yeah.
Give them 2 life-saving breaths, and then you wait, and then you give them chest compressions, and then keep literally.
I think I was more pissed just because everyone was stood there. Like, there was fully grown men. There was like
all the
30,
time.
40, 50 people, and they just stood there. They didn't do anything, and I was like, "What the hell?"
It's even worse now. It's even worse now because before they would just look, and now they'll do that.
Yeah, that's the worst thing, Chris.
Cameras
every time.
Yeah,
it was sad.
Absolutely.
It turned out to be my friend's granddad as well. So it was quite sad, bless him. But yeah,
but you know what? It shows the kindness of you, and it's true. Like, there's one thing with me personally. The one thing that makes my blood boil is when you see or hear about anyone like with taking advantage of older people. Like the fact you tried to save them, but these people that tried to take advantage or attack older people. We've all got.
That's going to be us one day. You know what I mean? We're going to be that age, and if someone stood there, it's not very nice. Is it someone's mum, someone's nan, granddad?
That's the thing. It's someone's nan. Like they're precious. Like, but
guys, this is a mad one from this Jez though. Just pull that up again.
Go on, Chris. Pull it up.
Sorry, mate. Sorry. Carl Rossi, she was 10 yards in front of us. She climbed the barrier, and me and my mate had to run, grabbed her until the bridge police arrived. It was a scary time. And that's on the Golden Gate Bridge. That's pretty
Archway. Archway.
No,
in San Francisco. It's
okay.
The film director jumped off that, didn't he? And found out.
You know what? Actually, so my mum Brighton at the weekend, and journey home from Brighton on the train about 2 hours. It took her 5 hours to get home, right? And her friend was really like, "Oh, it's the reason it took so long is because someone jumped."
Yeah.
And my mum was like, "Someone's had a worse day than us." And I don't just mean the person that jumped, the person that was driving the train. So these type of things are suicide. People do not need to comment about, because none of us have been there, right? For you to commit suicide, I get you're leaving family behind, and that's really, really bad. But to commit suicide, you have to be in a place that I can tell you now, not one of us has ever been there, because we're still alive.
I think that's amazing. That's one of the first things that Holly wants to tap into is men's health. Because I think, to be honest with you, women seem to have their own therapy. They're very different to men. They'll sit with other women. They'll discuss their relationships, the issues that they have, monetary, health, whatever it may be. Whereas us men, we have a lot of pride, a lot of ego. So we don't want to talk to our counterparts, our fellow men, or fellow peers, and discuss the issues we have. So I think that would be a great episode.
Yeah. And one thing you will find, Holly, is that, I mean, I'm a big ambassador for talking about mental health, is that every single man, the minute you talk about it, every single man will, even if they don't talk about it, their ears prick up. Because like, it's this, there's a lot of pride, there's a lot of this and that, but deep down, we all feel it. We all know it's there. Like, it can be from all sorts, and it can be from things when we were 3 years old or whatever. But every single man just needs someone else to talk about it. Then all of a sudden they're like, "I'll listen." Because so,
I mean, my guest for next week, Jordan, he is a big, he's big in the gym. He, is a doorman part-time, and, he's got 2 little girls. He's a good friend of mine, Chelsea fan, obviously. But, when I asked him about it, he said to me, I want to go on there, Holly, and talk about it. And it'll be quite raw next week, to be fair.
But I think it's quite good for a female to come with that angle as well. Because
I think it's good as well. It's important that it's a guy of the sort of size that you're talking about, because I think things like Tyson Fury, because of his stature, the size, being a heavyweight champion in the world, stepping forward, it would entice other men to come forward and say, if this guy can speak about it, then so can I.
Yeah. And let's be honest, right now, as a country, for the next probably 20 to 30 years, we are probably going to go through even worse than what we are right now with mental health from COVID. It is going to hit sooner or later. It's going to impact so many people, male, female, all ages. So it's a great subject. Right, next subject. Or
wait a minute, Jordan. What was your story? You had the bush.
No, I gave mine. I thought you would ask my mental health story. Okay. I was like, not now, bruv. I'll do it one day, but not right now. No, my story is really bad. It was about someone in the bush, not about Rita Ora, not about yours though. I'm still baffled that someone could go 9 months.
Yeah.
And
I bet Holly sat there thinking, no idea how that happened.
Mate, I got to about 9 weeks and I knew. Every time.
While we're on the topic of pregnancy and kids and that sort of thing, we could move on to kind of relationships and kids. And one thing I'll put out there, and I'm not going to say it's all women. In fact, I'm not going to say it's women at all, but there are certain women that you find when they have kids and they don't get on with the baby dad anymore, or whomever it may be, that they kind of use their kids as weapons.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a massive, massive, massive hate of mine. Obviously, I can't go into too much detail about people that I know, but obviously having brothers and males in the family who have gone through that. For me personally, I could never do that. Like, lucky with my eldest dad, he's like one of my best friends. We've been split up nearly 17 years, and I've never ever stopped. Elise from seeing her dad, never would do. He's got more children, and I like his girlfriend. She's lovely, and we've always been best friends, and we have done for 17 years. Obviously, I've got two baby dads, and my little one's baby dad. We don't see as much, but I'd never, ever, ever stop contact. Unless it was affecting my child in a really negative way. Then you've obviously got to make a decision.
there must be, you must know cases where women essentially are using the child as a weapon, and the dads don't have access. And what I kind of think when this happens is I think to myself, could you imagine if the shoe was on the other foot? Like, you didn't have access to your child from the female's perspective. So
yeah, I can imagine it, and it's close to home for me about, you know, people not being able to see their children. So I'm massive on it, and I really don't like it, and I don't like women that use children as a weapon, because a lot of people do. You know, they might use other excuses for it, but a lot of it's just out of bitterness, and I really just I don't fuck with that, you know what I mean?
Holly, so obviously, yeah, you touched on excuses. What excuses do you think people use to use them?
Just, you know, maybe they've got a new partner and they just don't want them around their child. I mean, that's not really a good enough excuse unless you know they're a danger to their child, you know. And obviously I don't agree with, you know, meeting a lady and the next day introduce them to your kid.
Absolutely.
You know, there is certain boundaries, but at the end of the day, if if that's their dad and they've met someone new, then you just have to accept it, you know what I mean? With your home, it's not your child's fault. You have to keep that separate.
So firstly, really good question, Chris. I actually feel like a Chris and Holly show would be amazing. It would almost be like Chris asking the real questions that people are scared of asking and scared of confronting, and Holly answering them. Like, it's actually... Now, I don't want to touch on things too much because I'm intoxicated and I talk way too much. However, my one view that I will say is, and this has come actually from my wife, because she always says it, the one or two times we've had disagreements, she's always said to me, and when she's seen other people do it, is, you see, when a man and woman, a husband and wife, they break up, they have children, and let me be clear, this is not all females, right? But in the cases where one side, in fact, you know what? It's not female. One side decides, I'm going to try and take that person for everything they have, right? And the one thing my missus said to me, she said, if we ever fell out, I would never do that, because my daughter needs her dad in her life. And when my daughter goes to my dad's house, I want her to be as safe and comfortable as when she is at my house. So when people are trying to take everything they have, it's like, do you realize you're about to put your daughter's mother or father in like a rented house or something that's not safe and not used to where they're living or whatever else? And it's just like, it happens too often. People do not think about the child. And let's be 100. Once you become anyone that's sane, in my opinion, this is why I probably shouldn't talk. When you become a parent, it no longer becomes about you. It becomes about your child before anything. So any disagreements just need to be put to one side for the good of the child.
But the child's a great weapon, though.
No, a child is not a weapon. Chris, remember when I say devil's advocate? That was a perfect example.
I think you hit the nail on the head, mate. No matter what happens.
I'm not saying the child's a weapon.
Child's not a weapon.
I think you hit the nail on the head, mate. No matter what happens in a relationship, the number one priority always has to be the child. And if a mother does decide, or a father does decide, that the other partner can't see the child, they have to remember the negative impacts that's going to have on that child.
Yeah.
And if you're that selfish, that you know,
it is selfish. And I grew up with such an amazing dad, and I can't imagine my children not having a dad around. You know what I mean? I'd never do that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If the dad is violent, if there's drugs or so, I completely get it if the mother is protecting him.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it's just malice, if it's just to get back at them, if it's just because they've got a new girlfriend and that girlfriend's pretty, if it's just, they're not that, you know what I mean? And
let's link this back. Let's link this back to the last thing, right? To touch on, like, I believe my mum, I was only 3, but I believe my mum and real dad's breakup was pretty amicable. However, my mental health is based on, and I didn't know this until a few years ago, my whole mental health issue is based on my mum and dad breaking up when I was 3. So that's what people need to realize, like breakups. And I actually feel that our generation have learned from, like, most of our parents, not all, but a lot of our parents are not together anymore.
Mm.
And I feel that in my generation, I look at a lot of our generation trying their hardest to stay together for that reason. Because, like, forget all the other reasons and all the other things that could happen. Up there, one day your mum or your dad being here when you're 3 years old, and the next day your mum or dad not being there, yeah, even if someone comes in as a substitute and fills the gap, it's not the same. It impacts you. I'm telling you.
So, I agree with that, but at the same time, I want to slip Gary's shoes on and play devil's advocate and say, do you know what? If let's say you're 3-4 years old, and let's say me and Holly are together, right? And then things don't start. We have a kid, and things don't start working out, and we start arguing, and it becomes more and more volatile. I personally believe it would be better for us to break up than it would to stay together and bring that child up in a volatile environment.
Right,
so
it would.
happiness is key.
Right,
So
it would. However, right, it would 100%. But what needs to be dealt with at that age, and this is a key, and not just with breakups. This is also, let's say, a child gets really tough subject, gets witnesses something when they're young. Don't wait till they're 15 or 16 to try and deal with it. You have to deal with it then, because by the time they're that age, so I agree with you, no one should stay in something they're not happy, but that will impact the child. So don't keep it from them, because that could lead to issues in the future. It needs to be, and this isn't just about marriages, it's about if someone got attacked or whatever, if you don't deal with it early days, because kids are like sponges, they're sponges, right? If you don't deal with it, it will impact them later. You have to deal with it when they're young. And this is something bigger when the government or social services or whatever miss things, and then you'll often find, not often, but you know when you hear about maybe a 16-year-old being involved in weird, like stabbing someone or something, then you find out that maybe that 16-year-old, when they were 7, witnessed something, but it just got slept on, right? And then they're like, oh, you have to deal with it there and then before it starts really affecting people's brain. And yeah, really deep conversation, Holly. You ready for these ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I've got a question for you, Holly.
Go on.
You tapped on it earlier. You were 19 when you had your first child. So what, were you 18 when you fell pregnant?
No, I was 19 when I fell pregnant. I literally just turned 20 the month before.
And what was that? Because I understand 8-9 years down the line, you then had another child. What was it like though, being a young mum at that time? Did it hit you? Were you scared? Were you ready for it? Was it, talk us through it?
Yeah. I think in the beginning I was so scared. And then obviously I got used to it. I had my little girl, and then obviously I split up with her dad when she was probably a couple of months old. At that point I was scared, because I thought, oh my God, I'm 20, I'm on my own, I live in this little flat, like how am I going to cope? And that's when my friend said to me, why don't you try dancing? And I was like, no way. I was a little prude. There was no way I was going to dance. And we went through this story before, but that's how I ended up dancing in the end. But I had such really good parents that, I'd go to my parents at 8:30, I'd put my baby to bed, I'd go to work, I'd be home by 3:30 in the morning. So when I woke up, she was there. So she never knew I worked. So for 12 years, I just did that job, and she never knew I worked, and I still got to spend every day with her. I still got to take her to school, pick her up. So for me, it was just convenient. But I was scared for a little while, but then you become tough, and us women you get put into a situation, you just have to deal with it.
She's Chris, like me and you, Holly's a Leo.
Oh, is she? Oh, she Leo.
I am.
When back's against the wall, you know how to provide.
Did it make you grow up real quick then, Holly?
Real quick. And the thing is, Elise ended up becoming my best friend, because I was a young mum. She ended up becoming my best friend, and maybe sometimes I was more of a sister and a friend to her rather than a mum. My mum always used to say to me, Holly, you're the best mum in the world, but you're absolutely shit at discipline. You know what I mean? So my daughter ran rings around me in that sense. But luckily, she's a really good kid, and she's turned out really well, and stayed on at school, and she's going to sixth form in September, and I'm really, really proud of her. So from becoming a young mum to thinking, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this, to, no one's ever got it. There's never a perfect way. There's not a book. There's, that's why I never judge anyone the way they bring up their children. Obviously, there's certain boundaries, but everyone has their own little way of doing things. And we found our little way. And for 10 years, I had this little girl on my own. So she was my best friend, and I wasn't expecting to have any more children. And 10 years later, obviously, I had Eden, which is a completely different pregnancy, completely different time of my life. I tried to baby her probably for longer because Elise grew up so quick. She was walking in at 7.5 months, because with your first, you want them to walk, you want them to talk, and you push them. Whereas when you have your little one, you like try and baby them because you think it goes so quick. And it's two different, it's two different children, really is. But it was different the second time around, I'll tell you that.
So Holly, do you think, obviously first time round, obviously that was a proper learning experience, learn everything for the first time. Do you think that taught you things for the next, like for your next child? Do you think it made it easier having a second one or harder?
Yeah, I mean, it does make it easier because you kind of learn the first time, and the first time around, you don't know if you're doing it right. You never really know. You just do the best that you can. But I think it does help you, obviously, and being so young. It kind of, I don't know, I was a different parent at 20 than I was at 30. Different things meant more to me, if you know what I mean. But yeah, keeping her little for longer, that's what I did with Eden. She didn't walk until like 30 months.
I think as well, despite the fact, obviously, Holly, you had your first when you were 19, right?
Yeah, just 20, sorry, yeah.
And then your second when you were, doesn't really matter, but a few years later, 4 or 5, whatever. I had my first when I was 33, right? And I already know the second one, it will be so different, because I'll always remember, sorry, take the comment down, put it back up in a second. I'll always remember, like, the day that Kelly gave birth, and then they were like, right, you can go home now. And you're like, okay.
Like what?
There's no manual. There's no nothing. Right? You go home and you're just like,
that's
it. That is it. I can even remember she was like, have you put the car seat in the car? I'm like, no. Going out trying to put the car seat in the car was a struggle, right? Let alone understanding when to feed this little. Like, so all these very simple little things that once you've had one become almost ingrained in your head. For the second one, it's there. But the first one, you're literally just like, go and learn how to do this. Like
yeah.
And so as a 19-year-old, I'm sorry, as a parent that had my other half with me and was of a certain age, I have nothing but next level respect for single parents, whether it be a mum or dad, because trying to do that job by yourself, I don't know how you do it. And that's on one. When I see single parents with 2 or 3 children, whether it be the mum or dad that is not there, right? So the mum or dad that is looking after their children, the utmost respect. The mum or dad that is not there, for whatever reason, I hate you, right? Because I'm sorry, like, it's hard, man. It's so hard. Like, so when I look at single parents of either sex, shout out to you. Massive shout out.
Yeah, that's a good point. Do you guys feel that support bubbles are very important when having children, i.e. grandparents, friends, those sorts of things, brothers?
Massively. Without my parents and without Eden's grandparents, and obviously Elise's dad, I would have been absolutely lost, because you as a single parent, you kind of half talk to yourself because you want to go to work and you want to earn money, to make sure that your kids have the best life. However, you think, am I doing the right thing because I'm taking all that time away? Like, you don't get that time back. So I spent a lot of my time working the last 6-7 years. It wasn't so bad with Elise because I worked nights, so I still got to see her all day every day. So that's why I decided to do that.
That's why you're best friends, Holly. Holly, you know what? Actually, that's massive, because a child notices when a pet. It's twofold. It's twofold because, firstly, as a parent, like, this is something that often we have to remember is, as a parent, Your
Yes,
job
right.
is to be a parent. Your job is to educate, right? But as parents, you naturally want to be like, you want to make your child also feel loved and safe. So it's a balance. Like, so often I'll be like to my wife when she's busy or I'm busy, it's like, no, we're educating our daughter that hard work is key. But at the same time, there's a balance because they want to see you. And if they don't see you for X amount of time, they miss you. So you working nights, yeah? That's why you and your daughter are best friends now, because she trusts you. You've been there for us. You've loved her. It's hard, man. Being a parent is honestly
you do talk to yourself
hardest job in
daily.
the
Trust
world.
me. When I was working 60 hours a week, that was the killer. Because although I was earning money and able to take my kids out at the weekends or whenever, I was getting home at 8 o'clock at night. I was missing some dinner times and bedtimes.
Yeah.
And for me, I'd always cooked dinner and done the breakfast and made the packed lunches. So I tortured myself for so long. Like, am I doing the right thing? Like, is it money over time? Do you know what I mean?
You're being
And
a
as a
parent,
single
though,
mum,
Holly.
you ain't got a choice, mate. You've got to go and earn money, whether you work
This is the
60
thing.
hours or 16 hours. So it was tough for me for a long time.
Look, you can't win as a parent. Take example, if you were Kim Kardashian, let's say, who could afford to never work, or actually she's probably away from her child quite a lot, to be fair to her.
Yeah.
But if you're someone that can afford to not be away from your child ever, right? Your child will grow up thinking, well, my mum never worked. So this is what I mean. Being a parent, like, there's some fights you can't win. Like, you just have to do. But the grandparents thing is so relevant for me, Chris. When you talk about the amazing job me and my wife have done, my mum has also impacted on that massively, 100%. Right? If I look at Soups and I think about Soups' dad and the relationship between Soups' dad and your son, like, I don't know now, but back when Jaden was younger, their relationship, and I even think about my nan, God bless her soul. She was like my best friend. So
Honestly, they're literally. And you think about Prince Harry, who's just had a daughter now. Yeah, and he's named her after his grandma,
I think that's good, you know. So
Lilibet.
let's make that the last subject. Lilibet, right? It's quite nice, isn't it? Because it's almost like he's paid respect to his grandma, and it's very important to me.
Yeah.
However, I'm not going to say traditional.
And no, he's also paid respect to his grandfather,
Who was?
Prince.
What was his name?
Oh my God!
What, Philip?
No, not no. His
I was
dad.
going to say
His dad.
Charles.
Charles.
Oh, sorry,
grandfather.
Prince Philip.
How's he paid?
Harry Williams and Charles.
I'm thinking Lilibet. How's he paid Philip?
Because Prince Philip used to call Elizabeth Lilibet.
Oh, okay. It's good, man, because he's kind of moved away from being traditional, but he's still kind of paid respect with the funniest thing is, I was saying, Holly, what do you think of the name Lilibet?
I think they're going to call her Lily.
I mean, if I took the bet off, I'd probably like it, but
That's what they're going to call her.
it's unusual, isn't it? But I'm sure they'll call her Lily for short.
So
Lily for sure.
let's all be very clear that in the next 5 years, Lily is going to go like that, name-wise.
Again.
So many Lilies, left, right, and centre.
Yeah, a lot of.
Hey, just quickly, guys, in the comments here, Static's Mum's getting a lot of love and appreciation for the job.
Nice, Mum.
Bringing them up, Carl, Jez, Diego, all picking her up. So big up, Static's Mum.
Hold tight, Static's mum. Hold tight, Static as well.
Yeah.
Hold tight all the mums and grandmums, and also all the dads. We spoke about Holly's dad before, because I've got this image of Holly's dad, and she was like, no, it's not quite the same as the way you. But all the dads out there as well, 100%.
Yeah.
But it is.
Cool.
I've got one last question I want to ask, Holly.
Go on then.
Is giving birth as bad as it sounds?
You know what, people? This has been Chew the Fat.
Jesus Christ. You know
I'm gonna
what?
let you
My
carry on,
first one
but I'm
was
out.
20 hours long.
Oof.
And I've never had a pain like it. I don't think I'll ever have a pain like it. I mean, the only thing that ever came close, I think, was when I had kidney stones. I actually thought I was in labour with Eden, hence the reason I got induced 2 weeks early. But
Have you never had a dead leg?
Say it again.
Have you never had a dead leg before?
Is it like that? Is it
Yeah,
like a
I mean, I'd rather have 50 dead legs in a row than ever give birth again. Yeah, it's horrendous. Second time was a lot easier, but that's, I think, probably because I was induced, it was a lot quicker. But yeah, horrendous at 20 years old and a tiny little size 6. I mean, any size woman, it's gonna hurt. That's the truth. It doesn't matter if you're short, big, fat, skinny, whatever. It just is. It's the same pain. It's more in your back, and the cramping is just horrendous.
So you're saying it's like cramp?
It's severe. Your whole body's contracting, isn't it? So your body's doing this, and it's the pain's awful.
Whole
Contractions
body's
are horrendous.
Do you know what? I'm just going to say one more time. Chris, you need a daytime show, mate. Honestly, your questions are just... They're ones I will never answer. And that one right there,
Don't scare anyone, though, because the pain does go the moment your baby's born. You know, obviously, you might have stitches and stuff, but the intense pain goes
That's
the
what
moment
I was going to ask. Did you, were you natural or were you cesarean?
Both natural. Both had stitches both times, so yeah, horrendous pain after. But after you're actually giving birth, you've got the baby in your arms. You honestly don't feel it, and it's over with. I'd probably rather give birth though than have 9 months of pregnancy ever again, because the 9 months for me was worse than the labour.
Okay,
You know what?
Was there no reason you didn't go for a cesarean then?
Chris, you know what? The questions you've asked tonight, right? Honestly, are you pregnant, mate? Like, are you Arnold Schwarzenegger? Like, are you Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, I know Paige will be interested in these responses.
I wasn't too posh to put it that way,
Okay.
as they say.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
never doing a podcast with Chris and Soups again
But
because
no.
you two are asked. But I've got one
Yes,
quick
yes.
story, right?
Okay, go on.
So when Kelly was pregnant, she had a really good pregnancy, to be fair. But we got to the hospital, I think around about 5:30ish, 5:30ish, right? And me and her sister were in like the kind of, so she had she started water birth. She was in the bath. We were in like the kind of seating area, which it's really nice in bed, really nice.
What Kelly did water birth, did she?
Well, she started birth. I'll finish that in a minute. So she was in that, and we were just like tables and chairs, kind of like in the lounge area by, and she's in there and she's just started contractions. And my mum had packed up a bag full of like snacks and drinks and whatever, because sometimes labours, like Holly said, can be really long. And we're looking through, and like I think we'd found one juice and it wasn't all that. And then all of a sudden I came across, I can't remember what it was, but I came across something that looked really tasty. I was like, oh, Hazel, who's my missus' sister, there's this. Literally, you know, Poltergeist, when the head turns round but the body stays the same. That was my missus. She turned round looked at us and was like, will you two shut the fuck up? And we were like, ooh. But then she started getting a bit more, and I had water to give her a drink. I had the gas to give her the gas, and she was holding my hand, right? So 3 things, right? I only have 2 hands, right? And literally she was like moving between the 3 every second. So it's like pop, 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 pop. I was juggling, right? And if I was more than 1 second, I was getting the poltergeist look again. Like it was, but then eventually she decided she weren't on the water birth, jumped, like didn't listen to anyone, midway through giving birth decided to jump out the pool, nearly slip over and jump on the bed. And then, but it is something, Chris, you're going to love it. I know you cannot wait to be a dad. Chris is the most amazing person with children. Like,
You are full of compliments tonight, Jordan, mate.
well, you know,
It's your birthday coming up, isn't it?
Wait, but one thing I will say is,
yeah.
Chris, your head's massive though. But I like you coming on.
There we go.
It makes
There we
my
go.
skin look slightly darker than yours. So,
Wait a minute. What was that, Jordan? Say that again, mate.
well, you know, my feet are bigger, so
So I'm looking forward to getting Holly to launch her show
yeah.
as soon as possible. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
She's going to talk so many subjects. It's going to be great. She's going to have different guests on and whatever. It's going to be amazing.
And the other thing is, do you know what? We have spoke, thanks to Chris mainly, not Holly, because Holly would have actually spoke about what me and Soups usually speak about. But Chris has come through with the most female conversations I've ever heard. But what's even better is that in the comments and in the views, most of our football community have stayed listening, right? And it's just like, okay.
Thank you for locking on and listening.
And Chris, hold tight, PCB. You're so handsome, Chris. But so Holly Talks is coming next week, Tuesday, 9 p.m.
Without fail.
Don't forget me next week, Jordan.
Why is it? Hold on. Why was that put on me, please?
No, it wasn't put on you. I was just saying that because you were talking.
Okay,
I don't know
cool.
who it was. Might even be me. It might even be my fault. I don't know.
But next week, we're all in agreement. We're all going to pull through. And Chris, thanks for joining us. I feel you need your own show. So,
absolutely.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming on.
But it's been Chew the Fat with Daps, Soups, CT, and Holly Glassett, aka Holly Talks, First Lady of PWP Media. We are out.